Hu Zuyan's first business deal did not go smoothly, so Hu Zuyan began selling at low prices. His aim was to turn the tables on the market. This move revealed Hu Zuyan's extraordinary business acumen for the first time. So how exactly did this commercial tactic succeed? After that, what happened next? What set Hu Zuyan on his path to success, step by step? Stay tuned for episode 2, The First Pot of Gold. Hu Zuyan, the famed red-capped merchant of the late Qing dynasty. Yet in just 3 short years, he fell from grace completely. The smoother things go, the greater the hidden danger. His dramatic, larger-than-life journey. What lessons and insights has it left us? Professor Zeng Shiqiang of Taiwan Normal University brings us Zeng Shiqiang on Hu Zuyan's first business deal did not go smoothly. The price of rice was surging daily. Hu Zuyan could no longer use his available funds to purchase enough rice. So Hu Zuyan began selling at low prices, aiming to turn the tables on the market. This move revealed Hu Zuyan's extraordinary business acumen for the first time. How did he succeed? After that, what happened next? That set Hu Zuyan on his path to success, step by step. Professor Zeng Shiqiang of Taiwan Normal University presents the series Zeng Shiqiang on Hu Zuyan. Stay tuned for episode 2. The First Pot of Gold. Hu Zuyan thought it over carefully. He decided to sell off part of the rice he had bought. Tomorrow, let's sell. At 8,000 per dan, just give it away. 1,000 dan of rice. Can that really sway the market price? Chen Ku said, you're selling just a small amount. Can that really affect the whole market? But Hu Zuyan knew better. In times of chaos and upheaval, he said, even the slightest stir can provoke an enormous reaction. It was a gamble, no doubt. But after mulling it over, he concluded that there was no better option, and the more he thought about it, the more confident he became. So he said, a small loss is a loss, and a big loss is also a loss. Just let me hit the south wall once. Let me keep selling, all right? Looking back at this, and especially at how it all turned out, Chen Ku's objections turned out to be helpful. Because he pushed Hu Zuyan to dig deeper and think things through again and again. If Chen Ku had simply said, yes, yes, go ahead, Hu Zuyan might have charged in recklessly. That would have been worse. So we shouldn't dismiss Chen Ku as a naysayer. When 2 people work together, balance is everything. The other pulls back. One loosens the reins. The other tightens them. That balance lands just right. Don't worry. If we go down this time, I, Hu Zuyan, will bear it alone. Was Hu Zuyan just putting on a brave face, saying, fine, fine, whatever we lose is on me? No. From this point onward, throughout his entire life, this was his way. The losses are mine, the gains we share. He was always like this. But Chen Ku, when he heard this, he said, how can you say that? Don't talk like that. I'm counting on you to make it big and take me with you. Ha! If you're counting on me, you'll never see the light of day. Laughs. Chen Ku was no Xueyan. He was a man of integrity, an honest and upright man. I was only saying you might overreach. I never said we couldn't afford to lose. Why wouldn't we be able to take a loss? So these 2 men, each had something truly endearing about them. As working partners, they were a match made in heaven. As we just noted, Chen Ku was an honest man. He had thought the rice price couldn't possibly be moved. Others wouldn't lower their prices. Then a beau came back and reported, down 20% across the board. What? They're all following our price and dumping their stock. Chen Ku was overjoyed. Then I'll go buy more, he said at once. Hu Zuyan said, don't act so impulsively. The whole market will surge again. Instantly, they'll realize fake selling real buying. Every slightest stir must be handled with utmost care. Wait, hold on. Give it another hour. I dare say the market will be crumbling even faster than we are. We must wait until the critical moment, until that very instant to make our move. Otherwise, all our efforts will be wasted. Telling him the moment had not yet come. Wait a little longer. The price will fall further. After the rice merchants all slashed their prices, Xueyan smoothly bought enough rice. But transportation became a major problem. So Xueyan decided to approach the cow gang, who monopolized the shipping trade, to solve his transport dilemma. Once he'd bought the rice, Xueyan immediately realized that the distribution channel was critical. We must understand that goods must circulate only by flowing from places of abundance to places of scarcity, from where they are cheap to where they are expensive. Can you extract a profit? That's how you make money. But the cow gang was not easy to deal with. This barrier was hard to break through, yet he had to face it head-on. This is what it means to plan thoroughly before acting. These two must go together. A person who only takes risks without planning thoroughly will be finished in no time. That is sheer recklessness. That is brute courage. Xueyan was different. He dared to take risks. He knew that although he had never formally dealt with the cow gang, he had some understanding of them. He was confident he could clear this hurdle. A guest has arrived. We can see that when Xueyan walked in, practically nobody in the cow gang paid him any attention. The chief didn't even glance at him. The cow gang had its own set of rules. Rules quite different from those of ordinary companies and firms. First, they needed to find out your background. Because in the Zhenghu, your background proves whether you are one of us or an outsider. Once they'd sounded him out, then the real conversation could begin. Then they started responding. Serve tea. Ah. Ah. When Xueyan arrived at the cow gang, why did he bow first? How did he know the proper protocol? Because from childhood, he always kept his ears perked up. Whatever people talked about, he listened. Whatever they discussed, he'd carefully ponder the reasoning behind it. So he had heard how the cow gang operated, how they arranged their teacups, how they made their bows. He'd heard all of it. Otherwise, if he'd made a mistake, that could have cost him his life. So when we see him seemingly fumbling with the ritual, he actually wasn't. He was recalling what he'd heard before and trying it out piece by piece. And sure enough, he got it right. Once he got it right, the whole picture changed. They treated him as one of their own. From then on, everything went smoothly. Xueyan had safely passed the first checkpoint. Laughter. The chief realized that Xueyan was not a cow gang man. Yet he knew their ways. Clearly, this was a man worth knowing. So he invited Xueyan to take a seat, treating him as a guest. Thank you, Chief. I am new to your territory. I hope you will take good care of me, Chief. Of course. And to all the brothers, young and old, please look after me. Ha ha, I am grateful for your kindness. Many thanks. Bring out drinks and food. I must take my leave. The chief said, be my guest. If Xueyan had sat down and feasted heartily, and then started talking business, he'd have been exposed completely. What could he accomplish after that? So he couldn't just. The moment they said, Let's eat. Just dig in. That would never do. He said at once. It's not that I, your brother, lack manners. Truly, I have a weight pressing on me. I must get back at once. There is urgent business. All I ask of this visit is that we shall meet again. But if he simply left like that, then why had he come? So he quickly presented the chief with silver. The goodwill of all the brothers, young and old. Xueyan accepted in spirit. Chief, here is a modest sum, to treat the brothers to some wine. An ordinary gift would have been meaningless. The chief had seen plenty of that. A government official from Hangzhou, here on official business. He was hardly on official business. He was on personal business. But this way. The cow gang was far more willing to accept his request. Please, speak. Up and down the Grand Canal, there is only you. Hangzhou has fallen. Grain and pay are gathered here. The situation is dire. Tell me, how can I not be anxious? Share the blessings, share the burdens. Men, who will escort Brother Hu part of the way? Rest assured, Chief, leave it to me, your brother. I volunteer. I'll escort you. Whatever comes later, we'll deal with later, one step at a time. That was simply how it was. With the cow gang's help, Xueyan was able to imagine that the journey ahead would be smooth going, so he and Chen Qiu happily loaded the rice and prepared to set off for Hangzhou. But there was a great deal of intelligence that kept Chen Qiu on edge with anxiety. Zuo Zongteng's army was already advancing. And on the road to Hangzhou, there would be military checkpoints. So he was deeply worried. Could this boatload of rice reach its destination safely? He truly couldn't be sure. Why was the boat sunk? Who ordered it sunk? That's where the Taiping army crosses paths with us to transfer grain. The checkpoint the government troops just set up. Are you going to wait for the Taiping army to beat the government troops? Let's lie low for now, see which way the wind blows. Wait until when? Until this boatload of rice turns into old wine. Why was Xueyan not afraid of the military checkpoints? It wasn't that Xueyan was fearless. He was afraid too. He was more afraid than Chen Qiu. Why? Because when trouble came, he would be the one to step forward and face it. So, under these circumstances, he weighed the situation. They couldn't delay any longer, and the soldiers wouldn't simply dismantle the checkpoint. They wouldn't. This checkpoint would remain. It was there. You either got through or you didn't. And if you didn't, well, you'd deal with that when the time came. So he said, fine, we go now. That took enormous courage. Trouble, big brother. What's happening? Take a look. Oh, government troops, what is your business here? Quick, say something. We're merchants, traveling merchants. The boat sits heavy and the water is shallow. What cargo do you carry below? Out with it. He knew he couldn't hide the truth. Why? Because rice is heavy. The boat sat so low in the water. They'd know instantly he was lying. If he said it was scrap paper, they'd also know at once. So he answered honestly, we carry 1,000 dan of rice. General Wang took a look. You're passing through here. Where are you headed? Downriver to Hangzhou. And who controls Hangzhou now? The Taiping army. So, clearly, this rice you intend to sell to the Taipings. Put that way, it was obvious. So he ordered the boat brought in and had Xueyan escorted ashore. Sir, Excellency, I am Xueyan. So you are Xueyan the Hangzhou runner. Aga. I earn my living trading grain. Now that Hangzhou has fallen, I have a home I cannot return to. This boatload of rice I offer it to the imperial army. I hope the army can soon retake Hangzhou so the common people may live and work in peace. He had to say that. What else could he do? This is why we often say, a person should be honest. A person should be honest. But at this moment, no matter how honest Hu Zuyan was, he could not possibly say, I was going to sell it to the Taipings. In no way would he dare. He'd be killed on the spot. And then what? So was this opportunism, or... I hope you will think about this carefully. If it was opportunism, what advantage did he gain? What advantage? He gave everything away on the spot and didn't collect a single cent. So how was that opportunism? What it absolutely was quick-witted adaptability. Because he knew there was no other way out. If he'd told the truth at that moment, even Cheng Kui would have been burned along with him. So he said, I donate this to the imperial troops. He did it cleanly and handsomely. I believe this mindset shaped Hu Zuyan's entire life. Untie him, gentlemen. Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellency, please. Look. Your Excellency. Master. There is someone who wishes to see you. See me? His Excellency, Zuo Zongtang, wishes to see you. How did Hu Zuyan feel upon hearing that Zuo Zongtang wanted to meet him? What emotion did he feel? Your Excellency, oh my. He was delighted on one hand, and terrified on the other. He was shocked. How did Viceroy Zuo know of him? He found it utterly strange. What did he want with him? If you want me dead, kill me. If you want me free, let me go. Why summon me at all? But his instinct told him something significant was afoot. So he was trembling with anxiety. All the way there, his mind raced. What was he going to do? Fortunately, he was unusually sharp-witted by nature, extremely cautious, and constantly thinking on his feet. We can be confident he would pass this test. You are a humble commoner of Hangzhou, Hu Zuyan paying his respects. So you are Hu Zuyan? I am he, Your Excellency. Laughter. Rise, rise, up. Thank you, Your Excellency. Zuo Zongtang was genuinely curious about Hu Zuyan. There is one thing I have never understood. The last time, without any urgency, without informing the head of your Qianzhuang, you lent my Shang army 2,000 taels of silver on your own authority, without fearing the total loss of your investment. You risked your life to bring me 2,000 dan of grain. What is the reason behind all of this? I wouldn't have done such a thing. At the time, I was trying to save my mentor's life. I had no choice but to agree to you, and in the end, it cost me dearly. You caught me. I had no choice but to call it a gift. Would he say that? Again, I ask you to think about it. A person ought to be honest. How can you be honest? How can you speak the plain truth? This was not deception. He was merely speaking in a way that was appropriate. This was the only way to speak. The only way to pass through this gate. Once past the gate, then you figure out the next step. To answer Your Excellency, now the nation knows no peace. And the people cannot earn their living. The people cannot earn their living. So what use is there in talking of ourselves? Therefore, I am willing to bear personal hardship in the hope that the nation may be at peace and the people secure. In truth, after hearing this, Zuo Zongtang understood perfectly well. You have your reasons you cannot disclose. But, at the very least, what you have done, from the great Qing Empire's perspective, it is a good thing. And for me, Zuo Zongtang, it is a tremendous help. Guards, invite Master Hu to the rear hall for a meal. That meal was no easy meal to eat. Because sitting across from Zuo Zongtang, every extra word you spoke might reveal your true cards. You might be exposed entirely. Your life would be forfeit. Yet if you kept refusing, that would only betray your guilty conscience. So he had no choice but to steel himself, summon his courage, and share that meal with Zuo Zongtang. As Zuo Zongtang conversed with him, he came to feel that this merchant, after all, was a patriot. At least his concrete conduct showed no sign of seeking enormous private gain. So he decided Hu Xueyan could be entrusted with certain matters. Master Hu, tell me, what price has rice reached now in eastern Zhejiang? If he had blurted out the actual cost at once, then Zuo Zongtang would have thought, ah, so this grain you intended to sell it to me, and now you want your money back. That would have damaged the bond between the two of them. So very naturally, he said, Hu Zuyan, a mere merchant. I do not speak of price in my home. He was signaling his sincerity. Seeing through your original fabrication, I give this freely. I have no wish to sell. Zuo Zongtang said, before the troops march, provisions must go first. I must know the price of rice right now. If at this moment he blurted out the actual price again, that would not have been ordinary commercial sense. How long can you keep losing money? How much money do you have to lose? How much? So without changing his expression, this was a natural gift of his, an exceptional quality that few ordinary people could match. He instantly raised the price. It has risen to 1 tael and 5 mace per dan. If he had reported, the true cost who would foot that bill. He was reporting a price to Zuo Zongtang. This was how he reported, reporting a price with the profit margin already tucked into his own pocket. He was a merchant, not a philanthropist. He was not running a charity. We must understand this clearly. He had no choice but to act this way. Commander Yang, immediately prepare the silver for purchasing 5,000 dan of grain and deliver it to Master Hu. Have him transport the next batch of grain as soon as possible. Ah, yes, sir. Your Excellency Zuo, I dare not. What do you mean, dare not? Dare not procure grain for me, or dare not take my silver? Laughter. Zuo Zongtang did everything with great prudence. Of course, he was over a decade older than Hu Zuyan. His life experience absolutely dwarfed Hu Zuyan's. So he immediately foresaw, Hu Zuyan, you have many strengths, worthy of my cultivation in you, worthy of giving you a chance. But after all, he didn't truly know him that well yet. If you go outside and make a big show of this, it harms not only you, it harms me as well. So he felt he should make this clear, to avoid things getting out of hand later, to the point of no repair. That would be disastrous. So he told him, this grain transport you are doing for me, one could say you bear a heavy responsibility. I hope you will continue to act with caution. By no means make a show of this. Right now, the city of Hangzhou is in the hands of the Taiping army. If people learn you are working for me, for your mother, for your aged mother, for your wife, it will be dangerous. So you must not make a show of this. Furthermore, there are many people who do not necessarily get along with you, because there will always be those who cannot stand the sight of you, and they will stir up trouble at the slightest provocation, creating all kinds of trouble. The moment Hu Zuyan heard this, he knew Zhu Zongtang was protecting him, so he was deeply grateful. Now that I have accepted the order to procure grain, there is no room for longing for wife or missing mother. I only pray that your Excellency will soon retake Hangzhou, so that I may fulfill my filial duties. And I beg your Excellency amid this war, to instruct your subordinates to look after my mother and my wife. Entirely reasonable. I shall give the order at once. Oh, thank you, your Excellency. Thank you, your Excellency. Every one of his responses in every situation is truly worth our careful study and appreciation. After Hu Zuyan secured Zuo Zongtang as his powerful patron, though he received a steady stream of orders to procure military grain, in reality, these brought him almost no profit. Yet Hu Zuyan not only threw himself into securing the grain, at the same time, he also advised and assisted Zuo Zongtang in using Westerners and Western cannons to establish the Chengji army. Stay tuned for episode 3, The Clever Setup. Insist on getting involved in government affairs. So as a merchant, why did Hu Zuyan